Introduction to solving an equation with parentheses. All right, so there are two different approaches we can take to a problem such as this one right here, where we have a number right outside of these parentheses and then a number on the other side. I'm going to show you the more generic version first that'll work in every circumstance, and then I'll show you the shortcut that works in this particular circumstance that we're in. One thing I'd like to point out here is that there's nothing in between the 2 and this parenthesis. If instead we had something like 2 plus parenthesis 3y plus 8, this would be a much different scenario. This would be a scenario where these parentheses actually end up meaning nothing, and we would just write it like this. In the circumstances we have here, there's nothing between the parenthesis and the 2, so that means that we're going to be distributing. I'm going to go ahead and erase this just so you don't get confused looking at that. So we're going to start by distributing. I'm going to distribute to the first and the second term. 2 times 3y is 6y, plus, and I'm doing plus because I have a plus sign in the middle here. 2 times 8 is 16, is equal to 70. Now, sometimes I like to put a little wall underneath my equal sign to really differentiate both sides of the equation. You want to make sure that what you're doing to one side of the equation, you do to the other side as well. Our goal is going to be getting this 6y all by itself. So I want to look at any party crashers on that side of my wall, and in that case it's going to be this plus 16 here. So if you want to undo a positive 16, you're going to subtract 16 on both sides, and that's going to cancel. What's left over is the 6y equal to, is that going to be 54, I believe? And feel free to use your calculator. If you can't do 70 minus 16 in your head, no shame in pulling out your calculator. That's why we allow you one. Right, so now we have 6y is equal to 54. If we want to solve for y, because we have it being multiplied by 6, we will divide by 6. Those 6's cancel. 54 divided by 6 is going to give you 9. So y equals 9 is your answer. We can always check our answers. I'll go ahead and check it for this first one, and then for the rest of the examples, I won't check it. So I'm going to take this y, oops, wrong tool. I'm going to take this y equals 9, and I'm going to plug it in instead of y here. So we have 2 times 3 times 9, so that was my y, the 9, plus 8 is equal to 70. You can plug this in your calculator. I'm going to go ahead and just do it by hand. 3 times 9 is going to be 27, plus 8 equals 70. 2 times, let's see, 35 equals 70. Yep, that works, because I got 70 equals 70, which is a true statement. If you got something like 50 equals 70, that would be bad. That means your answer is not right, or you plugged it in wrong. So we got 70 equals 70. We're good on that one. So now let's try doing that using my second method I was talking about. Erase all this over here. So I'm going to start with the same problem, 2 times 3y plus 8 equals 70. Now, because this 2 is on the outside here and there's nothing else, if you had something like 2 times 3y plus 8 minus 7 equals 70, you wouldn't be able to use this trick because of this guy out here. But because it's just this piece here we're looking at, we are able to use this trick where we divide both sides by 7 as our starting point. So I'm going to draw my little wall there. I'm going to start by dividing both sides by 2, and that will cancel out my 2's there. This works because of its multiplication right in here, and multiplication can be undone with division. So now we have 3y plus 8 is equal to 35, because 70 divided by 2 is 35. I want to take care of this 8 first, so I'll subtract 8 on both sides. We have 3y equals 27. Divide both sides by 3. And you get y equals 9, just like we got before. So that'll work. Let's go ahead and do another example. All right, so we have another situation here where we have some distribution to happen. I really suggest, while this method does work, sometimes people try to use it in the wrong situation, so I suggest maybe holding off on using this trick and sticking with, whenever I see a number next parentheses, I start by distributing. That's a really good tactic. So I'm going to go ahead and start by distributing here. I'm going to draw my little wall here. So 2 times 4x is 8x, minus 2 times 6 is 12, equals 36. Now I want to take care of this minus 12, so I'm going to add 12 to both sides, and these cancel. And the reason I like to do this little wall is so that you see I have the plus 12 on one side and the plus 12 on another. Sometimes students will do plus 12 to the same side. It seems silly in this situation, but as our equations get a little longer, it's easy to make that mistake. The wall helps tell you that you're working on different sides of the equation, which is really important. All right, so I'll bring down my 8x, and then I have 8x equal to 48. To get rid of my 8, I'm going to divide both sides by 8. That cancels. Now we have x equal to 6. So x equal to 6 is our answer. Once again, we could check this on our calculator by hand, however you want to. I'm not going to take the time to do that, but we could check it here. All right, let's go ahead and do one last example for good luck. Now, things look a little different here. It looks like the variable's on the other side, and that's totally fine. We're just going to solve it the way that we did before. We're going to start by distributing, so I will distribute this 7. The 42 just comes down because we haven't done anything over there. 7 times v is 7v. 7 times 2 is 14. Now I want to take care of this plus 14 here to get the 7v by itself. So 42 minus 14 is going to give me 28. You can use your calculator for that. Is equal to 7v. Divide both sides by 7. The 7s will cancel. 28 divided by 7 is 4, so we get 4 equal to v. 4 equal to v is the same statement as v equals 4, and that's the way that we typically like things to be written. Note that when you have equal signs, everything can be flip-flopped. So if you see 42 equals 7 times v plus 2 and you don't like the way it's written, you can write this as 7 times v plus 2 equals 42. These statements are identical to one another. So if it makes it easier to have your variable on the left-hand side, that's totally fine. Just rewrite it that way. Solve for your variable. There you go.